Hi guys, I thought we would start doing a few video tutorials on how to make some of the amazing raw desserts that you've all been looking through on my website. So today we are going to make a new recipe that I haven't yet posted. It is going to be a chocolate brownie cheesecake, so it's very decadent. Lots of nuts, lots of goodness, and lots of healthy ingredients in this one. So I haven't actually posted the recipe yet. You can write it down as we go, but I will post it later for you with some pictures. So first things first is the prep. So before we actually make the cheesecake, we want to be making the base. The base needs to have at least 4 to 6 hours minimum, just to harden a little bit so that you don't have any of the beautiful cheesecake sinking into it. As well as that, we're going to prep for our cheesecake later. So for preparation, 3 cups of raw cashew nuts in some, if possible, filtered water, because you don't want to be adding in lots of gross, disgusting metals and that sort of thing. And then as well, about 500 grams of dates. You just want to get them in a bowl, soaking, and these go in the fridge, and they will soak while we make our base. Cool, so those aside, first things first, we have 2 cups of hazelnuts in here. Now, you can make that almonds, walnuts, pecans, it doesn't really matter. I use hazelnuts because they taste nicer with this recipe. We're then going to throw in 4 tablespoons of cacao powder, so not cocoa powder, cacao powder. For you guys who are vegan, you want to make yours with agave. I use honey, which isn't classed as raw, but that's okay, because I think it tastes better, and it's still healthy. But yeah, if you're vegan, swap it to agave. So here we have 2 cups of hazelnuts, we've got our cacao powder, and we're just going to give that a bit of a mix around. As well as that, I always put about half a teaspoon of either nutmeg or cinnamon in my base, just because it tastes really good. And salt, a little sprig of sea salt, and that's just going to help bring out the chocolate flavours. And you just want to make sure all the cacao powder is broken down. Yeah, cool. So that's the dry ingredients for the base. Got a couple of stray hazelnuts. Now, when you're chopping up the nuts, just chop them up in the blender. If you buy a meal, it's probably like a hazelnut meal or an almond meal, it's probably going to be too fine, so try and get the actual nuts. Next step is 1/4 cup of coconut oil and 1/4 cup of honey or agave if you're a vegetarian. And then you just want to grab out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 soaked dates. Make sure you don't bring any water with them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick our 1/4 cup of coconut oil, 1/4 cup of honey and our 10 soaked dates. We're going to blend it all up into a paste. Okay, welcome back. So we have blended our dates, our coconut oil and honey or agave syrup, if that's what you're using. And we just want to pour it into our base. And then I always do this by hand. You want to rub it like it's a crumble. Grease it with coconut oil. My hands are all sticky. So we've got all our ingredients for our base in there, and then we're just going to use a potato masher, and we're going to mash it down. Then you just want to throw this into the freezer for about 4 to 6 hours, and we'll get making the next part. Cool, see you soon. Cool. Hey guys, welcome back. So overnight we've let our base harden for the cheesecake, and now we're going to make the cream. So in this bowl we have a little bit more than usual. It's 3.5 cups of soaked cashews. Now instead of putting plain water in today, we are going to put half a cup in. What I've actually done is when we've soaked our dates for the other part overnight, we actually get left with syrup. So you want to pour that off, keep that in a jug on the side. So half a cup in with your 3.5 cups of soaked cashews. You then want to put a 1/4 cup of your soaked dates. They'll be really mushy, so you will get quite a few in there. We then have half a cup of agave or honey If you're vegan, obviously you want to be using agave. And if you're raw and you don't really mind, you want to be using honey because it tastes better. 3/4 of a cup of almond milk or any sort of nut milk that you want to use. If you're super fanatical about being raw, you probably want to make your own. And then with that, you just want a little dash of vanilla, probably about 1/2 teaspoon. A little bit of sea salt, and then in here we have a 3/4 of a cup of melted coconut oil. Now that's just in almost hot water. We don't want to obviously cook the coconut oil, and we're going to pop that in with the cashews as well. So we've got a nice beautiful big bowl of goodness there. What we're going to do is now we're going to go and blend this. Now if you don't have a blender at home, God forbid if we're all foodie without a blender, you can actually do it with one of the blender sticks. I would know because we've already blown our blender up by trying to make raw caramel. So I'm going to go blend this up really quickly and then we're going to come back and do the next part. Alright, welcome back. So while we were gone, what we did was we blended all of that up. Now it will look a little bit like this. So you want to get it as smooth as possible. Ours could probably do with a little bit more. Now this is just the base, so what we're going to do is we're going to pour about 1/2 of that into another bowl, because what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be making layers and we need to flavour each layer separately. So we've got 1/2 in one bowl, 1/2 in the other. Runaway spoon. In this bowl here we have 1/3 of a cup of cacao powder. Now this is a lot of cacao powder. It's going to be very, very, very rich. That's what we're looking for. So in this bowl here we're going to pop that in, and then in this one here we are just going to pop a tablespoon in. Now I'm not using a correct measurement, but it's about a tablespoon, sorry, 2 tablespoons, because we want it to be a little bit lighter. Alright, so we're going to go mix these up really quickly and then we'll be right back for the next part. Okay, so this cheesecake definitely has quite a few parts to it. So what we've done is we've split our mixture into 2. We had a tablespoon and 1/2 of cacao powder go in the first one, so it looks like a milk chocolate. And then here we put in 1/2 cup of cacao powder, so it's really, really dense, which is fantastic. Now, what I also did was I grabbed the date syrup again, and I did put a tablespoon again in each one, just because they were a little bit thick, and it would help to sweeten them up a wee bit. So this cheesecake is in 3 layers. We have our base here, which is nice and set from the night before. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to tip in the milk chocolate layer, which is our lighter one. So we'll just get that in there really quickly. Cool. Wouldn't be too concerned about scraping the whole bowl down, because I'm pretty sure that once you taste it, you'll probably eat it anyway. Alright, so let's just get this one out of the way. Okay, so then you just want to smooth it out, and that's going to be our first layer. Now what we need to do is just get this freeze burning in the freezer. Doesn't usually take too long, just to get a little bit firmer, so amazing. So we have 1 cup of cacao powder. Make sure it's cacao powder, not cocoa powder, because otherwise it won't taste rich. That's also got about 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. We are going to put in our coconut oil, so we're going to put in 1/2 cup of coconut oil, 1/2 cup of honey, and also we have in here 1 cup of soaked dates, so we're going to pop those in as well. So 1/2 cup of coconut oil melted, 1/2 cup of honey, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Let's get this blended and then we'll be right back. Welcome back. So we have here our second layer. Now again, in case you've forgotten, it was 1/2 cup of melted coconut oil or cacao butter if you want to use that, a cup of soaked dates overnight, a cup of cacao powder, and half a cup of honey or agave syrup if you're vegan. Now I've also put a little bit of salt, and what we've done is we've blended that up so it'll be a nice thick chocolate ganache. Try not to eat the whole bowl. Then I've got here a cup of nuts I prepared earlier, just a cup of chopped nuts. Now I'm putting in peanuts so it tastes like a brownie. You can put in any chopped nuts that you like. Obviously, being that it's a raw recipe, you want to grab ones that actually taste nice when they're raw, so almonds, that sort of thing will be really nice. Got a nice big pile of dishes happening there. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to mix it in until it looks like that. And then out of the freezer, it's been about 20 minutes, and this is, obviously it's not set yet, but it's a little bit firmer. So it should be fine for us to tip that on there. So we're going to tip this on the top. We're going to level it out, and then we're going to pop it back in the freezer. So just grab a spoon. Obviously you want to do this carefully so as to not go through the first layer, because now, as you're probably going to start to realise, this is an insanely decadent cheesecake, and it's not for the faint-hearted. So not all our recipes are like that. If you have a look around our blog, you'll see that there's everything from your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner. Of course, there's other dessert recipes that aren't quite so high in calories and that sort of thing as well. You'll also notice that we have a subscription program where we email you out one of our recipes daily. So if you just have a look on the right of the screen on our blog, you'll find that, which is really cool. It means no hunting around for ideas every day. Now our recipes are mainly raw and vegan. You may find little things like the fact that I use honey, or you know, the fact that I've used vanilla essence instead of a vanilla extract, but you know, that part's really up to you. If you want to make it 100%, that's, you know, that's up to you. We're sort of more, as long as it's 95%, we're happy. Alright, so that's our second layer done. So it will look nice and thick and chocolatey and brownie. Now we're going to pop this quickly back in the freezer for about 10 minutes just to let it settle. Then we're going to put on our final layer. Then we go, final layer. Now this was the dark chocolate layer. Now we've let the fudge brownie part settle for about 10 minutes in the freezer, and now we're just pouring over our final layer, which is the dark chocolate. Now this, because it's quite a big one, I would say set this in the freezer to get it really set. You're probably looking, I always just go overnight, but 8 hours minimum, because it is such a big one. Some of the smaller cheesecakes, you know, they'll set within a matter of hours in your cooler, but so we just want to get that nice and evened out. So we're going to let this one sit overnight, and then all you do when you get it out of the freezer is you pop it off. Now if you want to serve it as a whole cheesecake, what I would do is I would get half a cup of cacao butter, half a cup of cacao powder, and a quarter of a cup of honey or agave syrup, a couple of dates, and make up a ganache for top. Hey, so I thought I'd just quickly add in the end, I've just cut open the cheesecake, so double fudge chocolate brownie cheesecake, and I'm just getting it ready for some of our shots for the blog. Just wanted you guys to have a quick look at the creation. This is mine and Nick's pieces here that we're about to eat. They're going to be fantastic. Yum! So yeah, enjoy and keep posted for the next video tutorial.